5. Yep. We're on.
Call the meeting to order. It's our Planning Commission, Monday, December 1. Item 1 on the agenda, approving the minutes the last time we met for Monday, November 17th. Got a motion from Mr. Salt. Second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We have the minutes approved. Public hearings. We have members of the audience here. There's multiple things in front of us tonight. I'll just kind of give you the big picture overview. We're going to work through them all in kind of the same fashion. We're going to have a presentation from the staff. They're going to tell us what the overview is, what the agenda item is. If we have any clarifying questions, we'll ask them. When the question and answer period's done, we open up public hearing. This is the public hearing part of the process, so this is the chance to do that part. There's only 2 people here, but come up one at a time if you want. When the public hearing part of it's done, we shut down public hearing, and then we come up here. We will discuss the issue. Somebody will make a motion to do something. We will vote on said motion, and then it moves on to the city council. So we're an advisory commission to the city council. So whatever we move forward, then they take their final vote. And so that all said, everything on the agenda is the same way. We have the preliminary and final plat for the Olson edition, and I am looking at Harry on this one.
Correct.
Harry Davis, thank you, sir.
Good evening, Planning Commission. So the first item in front of you is preliminary and final plats for the Olson edition. In terms of the applicant and owner, it's actually Jason Olson who is here tonight. If there are any particular questions for him. The location for this plat is 415 Brand Avenue. Here it's just off of Highway 60, just south of Division Street, as you get closer to Nature Center. Here's the property that's outlined in yellow. So it's these 2 properties. They're both unplatted currently, and so in order to get a building permit for a property that's unplatted, you have to plat first. There's also an issue where the accessory structure is really close to, or I think right on, the property line that divides these 2 properties that the applicant owns. So we're kind of fixing a few different things here and avoiding some setback variance requests that would otherwise happen. That's generally kind of what we're looking at in terms of the overall scope of this. Here's the zoning map. Most of the properties around it are R2 with some PUD just to the east. Like I mentioned before, it's combining these 2 unplatted lots to facilitate new accessory structure. Here's the preliminary plat, so you can see where the house is. It's kind of this, call it like a Tetris shape. There's a lot line that bisects what would together be one lot. At least that's what's proposed. Here is the final plat. So in terms of the preliminary and final plat, it meets all of our criteria for both plat processes. We don't have any major concerns, and the final plat is consistent with the preliminary plat. So we are recommending that this move forward to City Council with a recommendation of approval based off the criteria and findings in the resolution.
Do we have questions for Harry on this one? Mr. Olson, do you have anything for us? Very good. Is that it for public hearing? I have opened the public hearing. Public, we're back up here for Planning Commission discussion and a motion. Dan. Bart's got the second. I've got a motion and a second on what's been presented to us. If they all could just be this easy. Any discussion on this at all? We'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Good luck to you, sir, and next week at City Council. Next up, B this evening, approve conditional use permit amendment, the K-12 charter school on 8th Avenue. And I am looking off towards Harry Davis again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the next item in front of you is a conditional use permit amendment for a charter school in C2. The applicant is Jonathan Starr on behalf of Surratt Academy. The owner of the property is T. Nelson Properties LLC. Location for this is 128 8th Avenue. Located here, just sort of in relation to downtown, Highway 60 and Lindale Avenue. So it's just south of Highway 60 and north of Division Street near the railroad tracks. Here's a location map. So it encompasses all this area that's within this yellow bounding box. For those that have been on the Planning Commission for a little bit, there was a previous conditional use permit back in 2023 for this property. So this seems a little familiar for some of you that have been here for a little bit. This is amending that conditional use. Here's the zoning map. So for a school in C2, it actually requires a conditional use permit. There are some other uses that are allowed by right, like a daycare. This just happens to be a situation where this is a full school, it's K through 12. Based off of how our ordinance is written, it requires a conditional use permit. The request in front of you all is to expand this school use. So it would be an increase in area. Currently what they're occupying is about 13,000 square feet. They would be expanding that by 6,000 square feet, so a total of 19,000 square feet. The building itself is not changing, which I'll get into in a minute. It's just the amount of area that this use takes up. Because it's a physical expansion, it requires an amendment to the conditional use. So based off of what they've submitted, here's what they're working with in terms of a site plan. They do have 71 spaces on the property right now that were formerly being shared with this school use and a daycare. And that was more than adequate for both uses. In this situation, because they're taking over the entire building, that daycare goes away. It simplifies things in terms of the calculations for parking, but they are very much adequately meeting the parking requirements. They have about 30 or so spaces to spare for this use. They do have a lot of stipulations in the original conditional use permit, which would be moved over and sort of ingratiated into this new amendment regarding pickup, sort of traffic flows and whatnot, and requirements in terms of where people would be able to come in to drop off kids and where they would be able to leave once they've done that, as well as where buses park. Since this has started back in 2023, 2024, we've had no complaints, we've had no issues, no concerns about traffic volume or flow within this particular area. So we're really not too concerned with a lot of the normal site characteristics that would be asking a lot of questions about. This has been in place for a little while. They've operated as such. Even though it is an expansion physically, they are not requesting any additional increase in terms of staff or in terms of students. What this is doing is that it's actually facilitating their original limits that they asked in their original conditional use permit back in 2023. I think it's like 250 students and like 25 teachers or staff members that would be supporting the academy. And they do have adequate room for all of those staff members and for those students. What it's doing is that it's actually facilitating. So in terms of conditional use permit, it meets our criteria for that. There are no major concerns from staff. Traffic should remain the same. It should not change at all between the physical expansion, the physical increase of area taken up by this land use. So it meets our zoning requirements. And so we do recommend approval of the conditional use permit for Surratt Academy based on the criteria.
Thank you. Do we have questions for Harry, Tina?
Just one. It talks about the former daycare. Did the daycare go out of business, or did they get kicked out? Or daycare is so critical. I just want to make. I worry about it being displaced. So I just was wondering.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. That's not super material to the request, and so I didn't ask a whole lot of questions about that. So I don't know. So maybe the applicant can speak to that a little bit, but in terms of the request, just didn't ask that question. I'm sorry.
I understood that. So thank you.
Any other questions? Then we'll open up public hearing.
Reed Robinson. I'm the architect for Surratt Academy. Here to more answer questions than anything else. This presentation. To answer your
We can be somewhat informal since you're the only member of the public left here. Do we have any questions for them at all?
well, I'll have to come back up, but
Thank you, sir. Then we'll open it up for discussion here with the commission. Art.
I remember we spent a lot of time
Is that a motion?
make a motion that that we take the recommendation as written.
We had a motion and a second. Didn't mean to put words in your mouth. Honestly, I wasn't sure. Okay, we got a motion, a second. I concur with everything Bart said. In 2023, we really did a deep dive on, I remember the traffic pattern and the one-way, and we did our job back then. So if there's not anything else, I've got a motion. I've got a second. We can vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those no. That carries. Good luck. Thank you for coming down. That's it for...
in regards to the traffic, you know, we ended up working with the planning department, and it really worked out nicely for everybody. I appreciate your effort in that.
That's always good to hear because very often we never hear any follow-up. Glad it worked out.
Well, I think proof is in the pudding. He said that we have not had any complaints
Yep.
whatsoever. So.
We'll take it. Thank you. So now, this next one, and I'm going to go to Leslie pretty fast here. So it's Mighty Fine Coffee. There's a couple of resolutions in front of us, a variance on the impervious surface as well as preliminary and final plat. And I know there has been new information evolving. So Leslie, what do you have for us?
And before Leslie begins, I do have to recuse myself on this one.
Thank you, Bart.
Go to the side. Yeah, symbol, okay. Hold on just a moment.
Thank you. Sorry for this late notice. Over the weekend, we received some correspondence from the applicants that there is... Okay, they received some correspondence from the applicants that there might not be a full support of moving the preliminary plat forward. But so at this time, staff is making the request that you table the preliminary plat application and the variance to the next meeting.
So defer action to our next meeting. Okay.
It should be December 16th.
Got it. And that was actually the
15th.
request at the last
It's the 15th.
15th. Okay, so
And if there's any clarifications or questions, I'm happy to.
that's just what I'm going to do now. Anybody have any questions for Leslie or Harry on this one? I would need a motion to
Move that we postpone this.
I've got a motion and a second, and one thing I just want to mention for the record, there are no members of the public here. There's only just staff and planning commission members. So while technically we should hold a public hearing, there is no one here. Public hearing open and closed. I've got a motion and a second, and we can vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those no. Done with that. We can pull Bart back in from whatever happened. 3D this evening, ordinance approving the zoning text amendment to chapter 13. That is zoning text amendment. We're going to Harry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So last item for tonight is a pretty straightforward one. So this is a small zoning text amendment to our chapter 13. So it's our special districts chapter. It's the city taking this one on. Just to provide a little bit of background on this, it's to reestablish zoning lot standards specifically for public institutional zoning districts. This is like setbacks, lot width, and instead of lot area, it's actually zoning district area. It's kind of a strange thing, and I'm not going to go completely into it unless we want to, but basically what we did in 2023 is we adopted public institutional zoning district, those that have been on for a while, or actually back in 2022, I think, is when we adopted this. So we adopted this district for public institutional properties. So that could be a school, that could be a church, that could be a synagogue, it could be a city facility. And we adopted this because we didn't really have a good place for all of those different uses to fit. We adopted what you see in front of us, some building setbacks, a minimum district size, specifically for public institutional. And then very closely after that, we adopted a set of other ordinance amendments that were using an older version of our ordinance as their draft. And so these got lost. So I blame Mark Duchesne in city engineering. But what it comes down to is that we actually don't have set standards right now for setbacks for lot area, zoning district area, for public institutional right now. So it's a little bit of Wild West. We've kind of interpreted it in a way that they really should be following the setbacks that were adopted, but legally we're kind of in this really gray area. So we'd really like to fix that. This is just a very small change. It's just adding these back in here. These were approved back in 2022. We're not changing them. We're just putting it back in so that we can administer something. Generally, this meets our zoning text amendment criteria. Reverses the changes that were inadvertently caused. So we are recommending that this ordinance move forward to City Council with recommendation of approval. Happy to take questions.
Do we have questions for Harry at all? Bart? Can we stay with the Wild Wild West?
No.
Well, I voted for this 3 years ago, so
Ina?
So have we been approving, has the commission been approving development based on what we're inserting into the code, or has it just been a case-by-case decision?
So it's a really good question. We haven't had a ton of like new development or additions in public institutional. We've maybe had some small things, but nothing that has actually really tested the limits per se of that. And we do have some areas where, public institutional, that zoning district area has changed. One good example of that would be the rebound project that you guys recently approved, that I think now KGP is going in to that building. So it's that office building just north of the law center. I think it's the law center. I'm pretty sure. I don't know why I'm blanking.
Law Enforcement Center.
Law enforcement, thank you. I was thinking of the Public Safety Center. Those are now two different. So that whole office building, so that district kind of changed a little bit, but how the zoning district area works in terms of why it was created that way, how it's been interpreted, is that it's sort of using areas that could even be across streets, which is a little Wild West to me already, which is why I'd really like some boundaries on this. But the idea is that 2.5 acres that is owned by the county kind of across the street, like it's all adjacent somewhat, like that being the general idea.
Looking at the setback, the numbers that you use for setback and maybe how you arrived at 10 feet.
Yeah.
10 feet is awfully close.
Sure.
If you had a precedent for putting it that way.
Nope, this is exactly what was approved back in 2020.
Okay, all right, that's
So-
all I wanted.
Sorry for all the backstory, but yep.
Okay, other questions at all? And again, for the record, there's no one here from the public, so no public hearing. Back up here to the Planning Commission. Sam's got the motion. Art's got the second. Any discussion on this at all? I think Bart really summarized it. It's what we did in 2022, 23. And honestly, I remember on and off for 10 years about the. Okay, we've got a motion. Got a second? We'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No. That carries. That's it for the public hearings this evening. Are there, I'm looking towards Harry, requests to be heard, items for discussion, routine business,
No, Mr. Chair.
board and commission updates?
I am trying to pull up the latest city council meeting. I feel like that there's, yeah, so Jazzy, the Jazzy First Edition final plat. So that did go through, that did pass. Then the ordinance for, I'm trying to remember which one this is. Oh, for Ivy Hill to rezone that property from, I think it's R3 to R4. So that passed to the second reading. But beyond that, I don't think that there are any other major updates.
Did have a clarification. I guess somebody asked me about how could you approve another set of storage units like they have the ones across the street, and I'm like, that's not the kind of storage that we approved, right? The headline in the paper for the
Jazzy Edition, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the headlines in the paper said office and storage. And so across the street is the 3-story storage unit, controlled temperature. Somebody said to me, how could you approve another storage building like the one across the street? And I'm like, I don't think that's what we did. That's not what we did. So I just was
Yeah.
confirming, because that's not what I saw. It was like a lumber yard, I mean, business stuff, right? But it wasn't.
Yeah, there is outdoor storage that
That's
is
what
allowed
Yeah.
on that property, but it's just for a business. Like, we're not
Yeah.
talking about, outdoor storage for like a mini storage facility.
And that's what I said, but I thought, oh, the headlines in the paper were a little misleading. That's all.
If the applicant for that, if they move forward with their intended use, it'll be a contractor use. So they'll use that outdoor storage for their own business.
Before we go, it's a question that I've got. I noticed at the bottom of the agenda, honesty, respect, dedicated, visionary, accountability. Is that new? Is that a new vision statement the city's got going? Where'd that come from?
So
Administration.
yeah, Mr. Chair, I think it's based off of the strategic plan that just got adopted. Yeah, so it's words.
Words.
Yeah, it's words.
It's words. Okay, got it. Is that it for us here today? A motion to adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
Tina's got the motion.
I'll second.
Mike's got the second. He beat